Eddie Dexter Stewart, author of the manga Noel, Chapter 1, Welcome to Sunrise. You can find Noel at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, TowerBooks.com, and other fine electronic bookstores near you. The manga is available in paperback as well as electronic for your Kindle or your smartphone. You'll really enjoy it. I'm really proud of the work. So check it out. That's Noel, Chapter 1, Welcome to Sunrise at Amazon.com and paperback and Kindle electronic book format. And this, my friends, is my first podcast for something called Eddie Dexter's Constellation. And here you'll find reviews on anime, sci-fi, action, old school martial art movies, you name it. I'll give you my reviews as soon as I'm able to catch a viewing of the television or the movie. So when I give a review, because I know that a lot of you have a life, and so you don't stay at home watching videos all day. You have a 9 to 5 that you have to go to. Nothing wrong with staying at home and watching videos all day. If you got it like that, cool. But when I give a video, I can't stand it, or when I give a review rather, I can't stand it when the reviewer tells you the entire episode. It's like, you just told me everything from soup to nuts. Why do I even bother having to DVR the thing? I wanted to check it out on Netflix or Hulu or Crunchyroll. Now why bother? You told me the entire thing. Great, thanks a lot. No, so when I give a review, it's just going to be a review, just a general synopsis of the show or the movie or the book, what I thought about it, and that's it. And then it's up to you to go out and to view it or to read it, and then give me your own opinion. And in fact, if you're looking for spoilers, you'll never get them from me. So I wanted to give you that as well. So with that being said, on the CW, which is really becoming the place for superhero shows on TV, there's a new show out called DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And that's kind of a awkward name if you ask me, but that's the name of the show. And that's the show that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, most TV show pilots, they have, they're curious creatures, and they have a big responsibility when it comes to viewership. They have to capture the curious, satisfy the anxious, and keep both along for the rest of the season. So plots have to introduce characters in such a way that it keeps the viewer invested in the show. And the story has to be strong enough to keep the viewer interested. If any part of the first impression fails, it can doom the series. Thus, DC's Legends of Tomorrow narrowly escapes doom, but only due to the strength of 99% of its actors, and the show itself having a promising premise. The story begins in the distant future, and it starts off, and it's pretty grim. I have to say, I've read that the minds at DC said that they are going to be the more mature storytellers when compared to the offerings of Marvel. And this show, it's like they put all their chips on the table, and then they said, boom, this is what we're talking about. Because this show starts off very grim. There's this one scene in the show, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, you're not going there. And then, yeah, they went there. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty heavy. So they're not pulling any punches. And so the future of humanity looks really bad. It looks like all the Mondays in the universe put in one bottle and say, yeah, that's you, humanity. Well, all is not lost, because in the distant future, I would say outside of the future, are Time Lords. And they're viewing the events in this particular period of humanity. And this one Time Lord named Rip Hunter wants to go back in time and save humanity. He's saying, okay, humanity has been ravaged by this villain named Vandal Savage, who's played wonderfully. That is, Vandal Savage, the villain, is played wonderfully by a gentleman named Casper Crump. Yeah, that's his real name. Not to be confused with Captain Crunch. The Time Lord, Rip Hunter, is played by an actor named Arthur Darvill. And as a funny side note, he played as sidekick to the 11th Time Lord in the BBC series Doctor Who. So Mr. Arthur Darvill has a penchant for playing with time. Well, Mr. Darvill, aka Rip Hunter, is pleading his case to his other Time Lord, saying, we have the technology and the power to save humanity. Why are we just being bystanders? What is this power for if we don't use it? So, Rip takes a time vessel and he goes back in time and he selects 5 heroes and 2 questionables and brings them on an adventure throughout history to correct the wrongs created by Vandal Savage and save humanity. It's not like, I don't foresee them doing like Mr. Peabody or anything like that, but I do foresee them maybe interacting with history like X-Men's First Class. That wasn't done so much in this episode, but what was done was outstanding. So, great premise. I really liked it. And so it helped me get past the strange title. Really, really good job. Now, the viewer, that's you and I, if we're fans of Arrow, which I am, and if we're fans of The Flash, which I am, you'll find characters such as the Atom and White Canary and Firestorm in this show. Pretty cool. Plus some other characters as well. And these actors really, really do a wonderful job playing their roles, especially the young lady and the gentleman playing Hawkman and Hawkgirl. You're Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But so you really got to do your thing to make those characters look and feel believable. And they do. They do a wonderful job. I'm totally sold into each of their characters. And what I'm really impressed with is they had to get through some really clunky writing at the top of their introductions. And the show kind of felt laborious getting past the introductions, like with Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Their interactions with each other, it was kind of like, okay, look at us. We have this Yandere and Sandre type of relationship. We go back and forth, yin and yang, and it felt really clunky. And as well as White Canary's introduction and the Adams introduction. Well, the Adams didn't, because you'll see it. The Adams introduction was really good. But Hawkman, Hawkgirls, White Canaries, and the others, it felt really clunky. But they got through it, and they got through it because they're really good actors and actresses, and once you got past the clunky introductions of each of the characters, the show at that point picks up steam fast, and it really becomes a fun ride. You will enjoy it. I personally did. The special effects, outstanding. I mean, from the opening scene to throughout the entire show, you have the feeling that Warner Brothers and CW looked at the success of The Flash and said, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna loosen the purse strings, and we're gonna let the special effects team for DC's Legends of Tomorrow really do their thing. And they did. So a big thumbs up to the special effects crew with Legends of Tomorrow. Really, really good job. So, the story was good. The acting, for the most part, was good. So, special effects were great. So, where did I have an issue with the show, if any? Well, I mentioned 99%. And then I mentioned there was 1% there's one person out of the group of actors that almost ruined the show for me. And he's a big part of the show. And that was Mr. Darville. I know he's an excellent actor. He's classically trained. But in his opening scenes, from him pleading with the Time Lords to his interactions with his newly assembled team, he speaks so fast, like yada, 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 that you could barely understand him. And as you can tell, I'm speaking to you. Well, you may not be able to tell this, but I'm speaking to you at a slower rate of speech than I normally do. Why is that? Well, it's something that I learned in mass comm, that when you are on television, it's harder to understand what's being said if you speak at your normal rate of speech. So you have to forcibly slow your speech down so you can be understood. He didn't get that memo, and he just goes yada da 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 yada da 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 da, and I could hardly understand him. And on top of the rate of speech was the energy in which he spoke, and it seemed like he wanted us to know that he was an actor. Okay, so he almost lost me with his acting, but there's one scene where he has to bring it down. And when he does, his energy then matches with the rest of his cast, and it's at that point he becomes viewable and enjoyable to me to watch. So I'm hoping that in the upcoming episodes that he brings his energy level down and he reels in his thespian desires and thespian urges and just speaks to the audience. And if he does that and he comes across natural, for me, then the show's a winner. So I really have high hopes for the show. The acting overall is great. The writing is solid. The special effects are great. So if he can get past the plottiness or the pilotness of its first season, then the show has a bright future. So, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Awesome. Found at all places, the CW. So, in the Constellation, I give Legends of Tomorrow 3 out of 5 stars. Thanks again for watching. This is Eddie Dexter Stewart, author of the manga Noel, Welcome to Sunrise. And again, it's found at Amazon.com in print as well as ebook, Kindle format. And also found at other fine electronic bookstores near you. And also, check out the Constellation at Facebook.com/Dexter Space Jive. That's Facebook.com/Dexter Space Jive. It's the website for the latest in TV, movie, science fiction, anime, and other genres on the web. So check it out. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon in orbit in the Constellation.